first order of business today is figuring out how these doors are going to go on and build the little mechanism that lets them do like the minivan actuation in and out. As you can see, I've already sort of taken care of some stuff today. I did the back ramp and prototyped these doors. I don't think the back door in particular is perfect. Some of the proportions are kind of off, like the exact placement of these slots, and particularly like the way the whole back section comes together. It would have been better to have the door kind of overlay this back ramp, and the same maybe for like the floor here, but ultimately I think that would just be too much re-engineering. I'm ready to move forward. Alright, I think I've cooked up a little solution here to our problem. I think that should do the trick. It'll get placed right later, of course. But yeah, it's a pretty simple mechanism if you're able to see in there. Just some clips and a little hinge plate thing. So I guess now it's time to expand this prototype out. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is two pieces that are pulling a lot of weight. They made a lot of change. I redid the bottom spine here. And the primary reason I was doing it is because I wanted to add these two big 1x16 bricks here, which basically get rid of any flex that I had before, which was giving me a little bit of trouble holding up the back. So with this ramp, that equation's a whole lot better now. Having quite a bit of trouble getting this front door in particular to fit in here right. This is iteration number like 5, and I can't get it to go back far enough. This little barrier here represents the other door on, the opposite side. And what we have to do is close this gap here. This white should be right next to this gray line here. As you might be able to tell, the doors have been the thing that I have avoided the most so far, which wasn't really a good strategy because now they're even more difficult to implement, and I would have done them a little bit differently. If you end up getting the instructions for my build and want to make modifications, I think make the doors taller, kind of wrap around the bottom would be a better move. As it would appear, I am a bumbling idiot and did not order the right number of these white arch pieces over here. So those will get added to my wanted list of parts I gotta order at the end of this build, of which you can see a handful that need to be replaced with the correct color all around. But now we are in the home stretch. All that's gotta be added is the wings and the engines, of which I already have versions from the first build here that I did for Last Ropes, but I think those will most likely get scrapped. Regardless, I want to be done by tomorrow night, and then I can move on to making instructions. And with a build this size, instructions are probably going to take maybe 20 hours or something, but by the end of this video, it's gonna be done. Got a technique here that I quite like using for this slope on the back of the wing. It's the same that I used here on my ship from last year to get this cool, clean, slanted line here. However, I was inspired to use it by Thomas Jenkins' gunship, which used it here for the back wing, and it just works out really well, so I'm going to do something similar on mine. It's quite simple. It's just a bunch of these little 1x2 panel pieces, and then tiles on the other side, which make up that height of the brick perfectly. The mount point is just a little hinge plate here on one end, and then this bracket, which just provides like a bunch of friction to hold it in on the other side. Like, for some reason, quite a bit more than I thought it would, but it works out real well, real simple, and good looking. Making some good progress over here. Pretty much all that's left to do is the tips of the wings. I don't know if I'm gonna keep the gun turrets that I already have because they're a little bit big depending on the reference material that you use. Definitely keeping it simple over here, but I do like how tight everything is coming together. It's feeling quite nice, and although the rest of the design isn't necessarily simple, like from an engineering perspective, it definitely has a simple look to it in a design perspective. So I'm just going to keep the rest of this simple as well. We're taking the simple path when it seems like a good option. And I've assembled the ultimate wanted list over here of all the filler parts that I'm going to need to polish this off. But it seems like we'll be on track to making instructions before tomorrow evening. All the more building that I add to this, the redesign here that we did at the front becomes more and more necessary because there's just so much weight here on the back, especially when both wings are on. Really needed that extra stability for all that leverage. We're at a bit of a fork in the road with these turrets that go on the ends of the wings. Most people I see go with some sort of solution with this 4x4 dome here. I just have it attached on a plate just so you can kind of see what it looks like. But I just feel like compared to the source material, it's a little too dinky. And I think some people will disagree, but I'm actually gonna go with the traditional one that came on the set. First of all, it's got the printing on it, which I guess is a nice slight advantage, but it's also a little bit bigger. The only downside for me is it has this like ugly hinge thing on the back, but I can live with it, I suppose. I also had to turn this thing into bricks because this stupid little corner tile here doesn't come in dark red. So I got this design isn't exactly what I wanted it to be. Well, shit, we got a minor problem here. To get this on properly, the wing had to be almost probably 2 bricks taller than it's supposed to be. So it's just severely disproportionate, and that's just no bueno. So I gotta figure out, I think, a better way to attach these, or I'll have to transition to the 4x4 domes. All right. I thought I was done. I went ahead and created the whole wing design here in studio because this is just the best way to go about things, where you're just constantly rearranging a bunch of plates. You gotta find the best combination of those, but leave everything else in place. And I went to go order some of the parts that I needed, including this wedge right here in dark red, which I was for some reason under the impression was, at least reasonably common, not too hard to come by. How wrong I was. There are only 2 people in the US selling these, and whatever jackass this is realized that he's one of the only 2 people selling in the US, marked it up to $47 a piece for this stupid wedge. There's a bunch of people in Europe that have them as well, but I'm not ordering overseas. And now Bricklink is down for daily maintenance, so that's just epic. And this should be it. Perfect combination of stores to get the best price and all the pieces that I need in the least number of stores. We are almost done. Last night I placed 5 orders. 4 of them went smoothly. 2 of them already shipped. However, I received an invoice this morning from a store called Let Go My Bricks in Missouri. So I opened my invoice for my $7.08 order. I'm a big baller these days. We're getting all of 81 parts. And my total is $25.28. That doesn't really add up. What's going on here? $5 in shipping? Fair enough, okay? Costs about $4.08 to send. You round that up, a whole bunch to maybe cover handling, packaging. Undescript charge number 1, $1.20. That's pretty weird. Now we're getting onto some real Uber Eats type shit. Additional charge that I don't know what it means, number 2, $12. What in the world is going on? I pull up the message that the guy sent me, and there's the breakdown. A $10 subcharge for a large lot. Remember, this is like 80 pieces. A 5% subcharge for no reason, $1.20. Packaging, $1, whatever. And the overpriced shipping for a $7.08 order. I'm like, all right, here we go. I pull up the guy's terms and conditions, something I don't think I've ever looked at for any store in my entire life. And there it is. He's in the technical right. I'm like, well, I guess I fell for it. Whatever. The seller always has the right to cancel the order, not the buyer. That's not how it works on Bricklink. I think maybe I can ask him to cancel it. Oh, never mind. He obviously gets this all the time, pulls people into his little trap. This guy, Doug, who runs Let Go My Bricks in Missouri, the USA, because he's got a very bolded section here in his terms and conditions that says, I'm not going to cancel your order if you don't read my terms. Because this scum knows exactly what he's doing. I reach out to him. I'm like, look, dude, I can't cover this. I'm sorry. I didn't know about it. And he writes me back with this predictably snobby response. I will leave it up to you. Regards, Doug. I'm like, all right, we're playing games then. I write back to him. I'm like, all right, you win this round, Doug. But this will obviously be reflected in my feedback, and I'm going to tell people to add your store to their Bricklink disliked stores, their blacklist, so that it doesn't show up when they go to do a bunch of auto carts off of maybe one of their wanted lists. And, he comes back at me, calling me a child and all this stuff, basically being a complete dickhead of a seller. And then a few hours later, I get a message. It's like, hey, Spencer, actually, I'm missing some of the pieces in your order. What are all of these charges for if you can't even have an organized enough store to know what you own? You're selling me things that you don't actually own. He refunds me 33 cents. I say, no, cancel the whole thing. Because that's how the Bricklink terms and conditions work. The terms and conditions he signed up for when he became a seller. But Doug is Doug, and he's holding strong with his many long paragraph messages about how I'm a complete headache, and he already put in the 3 minutes of work to pull an order that's 81 pieces. So in the end, doesn't seem like I really have any leverage. Besides, never order from Let Go My Bricks. Be careful when you order on Bricklink. 99% of people are good and honest. But some of them don't really deserve respect or should be welcome to sell on Bricklink. Let's get back to building. All right, everybody, that brings us to the end of this video. We're basically done. Just got a lot of color swapping to do. I'll throw a bunch of B-roll up here. And yeah, shortly I should be having a really cool showcase video coming out of this model and instructions available on rebellug.com. Again, just around the corner, but not done just yet. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a comment. That's the only way I know if you really watched it. And yeah, I'll see you guys hopefully in the next video. Should be that showcase, which I'm going to be working really hard on. So I'll see you then. Until next time, happy building. Later.